Today I'm going to review the BMW 2 Series. BMW Canada has lent Ross the M240i XDrive. Our tester is well equipped and almost fully loaded and comes in at about $75,000. I just want to go over briefly the other two offerings, the BMW 230 and the M2. The BMW 230i XDrive. The engine is a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, transmission is an 8-speed automatic, the drivetrain is all-wheel drive, the power is 255 horsepower, 295 pounds of torque, the starting price is around $53,000 and you can go up to $70,000 with options. And then you can have the all-out performance with the M2, which starts at $82,000 and is available with either a manual or automatic, rear-wheel drive, and with all the options can go for over $100,000. With the exception of the M2, all the other models have all-wheel drive and an 8-speed automatic. Our tester is the middle-of-the-line M240i XDrive, though in terms of raw performance, it's closer to M2. For example, the 0 to 60 times are very close. It starts at almost $65,000 and you can work your way up to over $80,000. The technical data is impressive. The star of the show is the 3-liter turbo inline-6, which produces 382 horsepower and 369 pounds of torque. There is a mild 48-volt hybrid system. The net result with the all-wheel drive is a 0 to 60 in a little over 4 seconds and a maximum top speed of 250 kilometers an hour or 155 miles an hour. Fuel economy is impressive, 10.3 liters in the city, 7.3 liters on the highway, or 2332 mpg. For reference, the 2007 BMW 335xi, which produced 300 horsepower, did 13.7 liters in the city and 9.5 liters on the highway. No one can accuse BMW of standing still. Our tester is painted in Zandvoort Blue, a no-cost color option named after the Dutch coastal racetrack. Although powder blue is not everyone's thing, I could almost live with it. This car is the right size, it seems, from the outside, and if you took a more subtle color, it would really go under the radar. In my opinion, it is one of the most successful BMW exterior stylings of recent, especially the front end. It has a smallish trunk. I managed to sit in the back seat, though I was short on headroom. In front, plenty of room. Ross and I are big guys. He's 6 feet tall and I'm 5'9". I had plenty of room for my mansplaining position. That's very important. And these seats are quite comfortable despite the bolsters. BMW still makes some of the best seats in the world. I love the M steering wheel. Everything you need is here. Leather seats, Harman Kardon sound system with 14 speakers and 464 watts. If you're gonna buy a sports car, you gotta have the premium sound. The BMW dash infotainment combo is familiar now in BMWs. There is a combination dash and infotainment in a curved digital interface. It is bright and reactive. The firmware is now BMW iDrive 8.5. You now have climate control integrated in this infotainment, and BMW has tried to make this a low fumble affair, though you gotta take your eyes off the road for the climate control changes. The idea is to have a more smartphone-like experience. On balance, slightly easier to use than previous versions. The driving dynamics can best be described as sure-footed and well-planted. I was driving on Laval's horrible roads, and I was surprised how the ride was not jarring. That could be the adaptive suspension, which, in a non-sports setting, delivered in terms of everyday use. It's very comfortable. The adaptive suspension is, as you can guess, part of an option group. The BMW driving aids are very good, and the M steering wheel is the best in class. The brakes have bite, the engine is crazy, and the sound it generates is awesome. BMW are masters at combining engine characteristics and transmission. You almost seem to be in the right gear all the time, whether you're doing your daily grind or driving spiritedly. There is the familiar DNA of this BMW product. I owned a 3 Series in the past, and this M240 feels similar to those older 3 Series. There's a tremendous feeling of solidity when closing the door. You can see the felt door trim and thick rubber weathering. There is low wind and road noise. The tactile quality of the different controls feel good enough, though don't expect the same refinement as a 5 Series despite the $75,000 price tag. And that brings us to the main question. Does M230i deliver on its $75,000 price tag? At that price, there's a lot of options. However, I think the engine transmission combination certainly feels that price. I also think the 4-wheel drive and the bearable rear seat and the trunk room make it a potential 12-month-a-year car. Making $1,300 monthly payments requires you to enjoy your vehicle 12 months a year. I had technical difficulties this week with my video, and I only have the last 3 minutes of my drive with the M240, a car I recommend warmly on the lease. M steering wheel is wonderful. M steering wheels are the best on the planet. They beat everyone. It's just crazy. Nice, thick 10-in-2 grips. I will say though, just a remark, usually I'm used to, for these small coupes, that the steering wheel have a less bigger diameter, because a small steering wheel kind of messes with your brain. It makes you feel like you're more in a go-kart. It feels sportier without being necessarily sportier, if you catch my drift. So it's not a critique, it's a remark, all right? Because this is a wonderful steering wheel. It's wonderful. I love the M color, the M stitching, the red band here to indicate top dead center. It's nice, right? It's a high level experience. The suspension, I'm here doing in the Montreal Trail. Actually, it's the Laval Trail, which is becoming like the Montreal Trail. In fact, everywhere in Quebec, it's a mess for the damn roads. This is wonderful. I'm in comfort mode. I'm doing the daily routine really good here, and that's what you want at that price. You want to have the sportiness, and you don't want to get beaten up, because it's probably going to be your only car, and so that's nice. It's a really nice experience for that. You know, the BMW, I must say, I was saying on the French version, you know, there's some manufacturers that just have your number. And it just seems that if I were to design a car, it would probably look and feel a lot like a BMW. I have an affinity for their DNA. It just works with me. I've already owned a BMW. I still think fondly of that ownership experience. And it's just the goods, right? So obviously, I'm going to recommend this BMW 2 Series on the lease, right? I have seen no evidence that BMW has become like Toyota in terms of long-term reliability. I'm not knocking BMW. I'm just giving I'm giving you car buying advice. This is really what this channel is. So for the purchase, I'm not sure. For the 4-year lease, it's a winner, and it's high level. Ross feels that way too. Ross, I think, has a similar affinity for the BMW DNA, and that's just the way it is. You know, if you like driving, it feels just right. You know, once you get your settings done and everything, it just feels just right. You will find your sweet spot driving a BMW, and I think it says a lot. You know, a buddy of mine, Pan the Organizer is probably the biggest car whore I've ever met in history. He just doesn't, there's no loyalty to any brand, right? He just wants the best. He goes from, I've known him for a long time, and he bought a second BMW. So it just goes to tell you, it's just a testament of how good these vehicles are, at least to people who really have not a care, but think of vehicles more than just an appliance. And that's what I have to say about that. So highly, highly recommendable on the lease. You could buy it, fair enough. Do whatever you want. And as for the competition, well, I remember maybe a decade and a half ago, I saw Chris Harris compare the BMW M235 to the Volkswagen Golf R, and I remember that comparison very well. And is this a competitor with that vehicle? Possibly. Is this a competitor with the RS3? Possibly. Is it a competitor now with the new S3? Possibly. I've always felt that BMW was kind of like standing alone in those things. I've never, you either shop for a 2 Series or you shop for something else. For me, it's just its own car, right? And that's what I have to say about the competition. So that's the review. By the way, if you like this video, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. And if you really like it, well then of course, you should subscribe. And that is it.